I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, November the 14th, and we're headed back down the other side now. We talked about that over the weekend and to start the week, that it looked like the edge was off this thing, and it sure enough is. You can just tell. It's not that it's a wreck or anything. We ran up more than anybody thought we really would here, especially late in the year, but it just seems like everything now is under pressure and things are starting to level off and likely finish out the year on kind of a steady to lower note there. And it all started with just the negative basis that as good as the cattle market was compared to what we thought it would be, really, the board was just out front there, and we needed it to back off a little bit, and it finally did, and guys got back into a positive basis. It got away from them, and like pulling the rug out, and just it was inevitable that things were going to go down, because that's the world we live in now, when everybody's hedged up, and the basis really means as much or more than the market does a lot of times. But look at the board, February live cattle, which we're going to talk about February now. That's where most of your play is. It was down 35 cents on Monday to end the day at 126.40. January feeder cattle down 26 to end the day at 156.97. Your weighted average on last week's fat cattle trade on 94,600 head. And if you listened to me yesterday, you heard me say that there was some trade on Friday. We didn't really know how much there was, but that it was on a negative note. Yes, there was about 11,000 head that sold on a direct trade in your fat cattle, the 5 areas there on Monday, and it was definitely a downer. But your weighted average on live steers ended up for the week 122.71, down 82 cents. And your dress trade, which we thought was going to end up with a weighted average that was steady or higher, ended up lower after some lower trades on Friday. Dress steers averaged 191.62, down 37 cents, and that lower trade on Friday was from 118 to mostly 122 on a live basis, and 188 to 190 dressed. So we're pretty much relegated to having to take that kind of money for cattle this week, somewhere between that 118 to 122 and 188 to 190, and that's just the way it's going to have to be. But you look at your feeder cattle markets to start the week out. Your real-time index on Beef Market Central on your average of steers weighing from 7 to 899 pounds, 159.88, down 37 cents, so just a little bit weaker there. But look at your big high volume sales. We talked that we knew that they were going to be a little bit lower, and sure enough they were. Oklahoma's national stockyards in Oklahoma City, 10,600 head for the second week in a row. Feeder steers $2 to $5 lower. Feeder heifers late in the day still not well tested. That tells me that they really didn't want to call them as much lower as they appeared. That's a market reporter's trick. I probably fell victim to that a few times in my life too, but not well tested on 10,600 head late in the day on the feeder heifers. Calves are steady to 2 higher, and guys still finishing up putting together their calves for wheat pasture. Look at Joplin Regional Stockyards, 6,200 head there. Yearling steers there steady to $2 lower. All classes of heifers $3 to $6 lower. Your steer calves were kind of unevenly steady. They had spots of $3 higher on some pee-wee calves and certain kind of weaned 6-weight calves. But look at that report, the automated report on Cattle Market Central from Joplin Regional Stockyards. You see they get a lot of those middleweight kind of calves all the time. But the popular weights there, the 980 head of 5-weight steers averaging 549 with a weighted average price of 156.41. That was down almost $3 there compared to the weighted average from the previous week. 848 head of 6-weight steers average 643, bring 153.50 on the weighted average, down about $1 from the weighted average the previous week. But look at some individual quotes. A light calf quote there out in Colorado, the desert parts of Colorado. Winter livestock auction in La Junta, Colorado. That's one of the originals there, the winter bunch. They had a nice run of light calves there late in the evening, or early in the evening, late in the day, 6:20 p.m. On Monday. They sold 70 head of 448-pound steer calves at $192.50. And look at a yearling quote, individual quote there, Tri-State Livestock Auction. McCook, Nebraska had some mixed quality kind of steers, actually 2 loads of them. 5:30 in the afternoon, weighed 720 at 165 1/4. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.